It's Monday. It's 12:30. It's Fish. The voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, joining the Dan Dockett Show.
All right, Fish, it's a weird question, but I respect the living hell out of you, and you've been around this so long. When Indiana does what, that means they're playing well. What do they do that all of a sudden, okay, now they're playing well? Is there any tell that they have?
Are you talking about football? Or
yeah,
basketball?
no, I'm sorry, Fish. Yeah, football. I'm sorry. Right. Apparently they're guarding Montana State because Montana State couldn't get to 40.
Exactly.
Jeez.
I'd say the tell in that game was defense.
Yeah, I'd say getting a stance and the game's over. Right.
Honestly, in football, there's if I see that they're playing really hard, and you can tell that. I mean, as a fan, you can tell if a team is playing hard. Then you always feel like, and especially through the last 20-plus years, that's been a good tell. Because when Bill Mallory was here, the tell was how physical they were playing. It wasn't just playing hard, it was how physical teams were playing. But the physicality of football, to me, at Indiana these days is not what it was in those days. So the tell for me is if they're really playing hard, I can see that, then I think we're going to probably play a pretty competitive football game. If I see them play like they did against Iowa, and I don't know if the general public looked at it this way, but if you watch that football game and you couldn't tell a difference in the effort or the energy level that they put out there in the field, then really you don't know a lot about football. And I'm not, because I'm a layman type guy, I'm not an X and O guy. I just know what I can see and what I see from an energy standpoint. And we didn't see it in that game, but boy, you saw it on Saturday.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, Fish. I wouldn't ask everybody that, because I think a lot of people that if they don't know, they immediately go to two things. Well, they didn't play hard and they didn't make any adjustments, but they don't know,
right.
But, it's kind of funny you say that because I'm watching the IU game and I'm thinking, well, they're going to win this game. And I really didn't watch the whole thing. I just kind of caught at the end, but I thought they were playing hard. I thought they were playing well. I don't know, but hard probably dictated it.
Yep, I think I think you've always – in the game of football, Doc, you can always tell if a team is really trying just through their energy level. They may not be as good as the other team, but at least they're busting their tails and they're trying to make plays, that kind of thing. The great teams, the Michigans, the Ohio States, the Penn States, those ball clubs, they execute. It's not just playing hard. They execute the crap out of a game. That's not probably the best way to say it, but it's the truth. You can see how well they're executing what they're supposed to be doing out there. And it's all in fluidity, if you know what I mean. You could just feel it. And that's the difference between the great teams and the average teams and the less than average teams. That's in my opinion.
No, I agree. I really do. I agree. I just, I don't know. Sometimes I watch football and I can't tell who's more talented, but you can always tell who's faster, I guess, is what I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You can tell. It's not just because the other team is faster from a pure speed standpoint. It's the level that they're executing at. You know what I mean? There's a level of play that you can always tell is special. And when you watch teams like Ohio State or Michigan, those types of ball clubs, and they're playing somebody else like them, the Penn State, the Ohio States, the Michigans, and even in some cases the Iowas and the Wisconsins and all these other teams that have great programs that have for a long time, you could always get that feel that they may not be the fastest team in the world, but they're playing fast. They know exactly what they're doing, and that to me is the execution part of it.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of IU basketball?
Wow. I'm just telling you, at this point, and of course they haven't played anybody yet, but you could just tell that there's a dramatic improvement in a number of things. Number one, things that you can't control, but you control them by recruiting, and that's the physicality or the physical aspect of this team, the length and the size, that kind of thing. That's a much different scenario than what we saw last season. The depth in this team is much, much improved, and there's no doubt that Archie Miller's got him playing defense, Doc. That's the one thing that's most impressive to me, and I think it's impressive in this sense that, number one, last year it was a process going through learning what he wanted from a defensive perspective, learning how to get back in transition fast, and that's still not where it needs to be at this point, according to the coach. But you can see there's a difference this year because the guys that are back this year have helped those young guys understand going into practices that this is how we do it. It's not just coaches telling everybody this is how we do it like it was last year. Now it's players and coaches telling the younger guys this is how we do it. And you can see they're so far ahead of where they were last year at the same time, especially with these young talent.
Hey, Fish, you mentioned, I don't know, that this could be one of the most talented teams that you've seen at Indiana. Still feel that way?
I do. I really do. I think this is a really good basketball team from a talent perspective. Now, the young guys all they've got to get better and they've got to improve and all those kinds of things. But you can tell when you look at Rob Finney and look at him, you don't think he's a freshman. He doesn't look like a freshman out there. He doesn't play like a freshman. When you look at Romeo Langford, he doesn't look or play like a freshman. That tells me that you've got some kids that are absolutely above the level of what you normally or what you might see on a normal basis. These guys are special players. And I just think that there's two or three others in this group that might end up being that way. And I think the Fitzner kid that has come in here, Doc, I like everything I see about this kid. I know he's not the greatest athlete in the world, but he's smart. He knows how to play. He plays within his own game. He doesn't try to do more than he's capable of doing. He just brings an added presence of calmness, maybe, or leadership. I don't know what term you want to use, but he knows how to play the game, and I think he purveys that to the rest of the teams, whether it's by verbal or not. He does it by the way he goes about his business out there. I think they just have really improved the level of talent and the level of smartness on this basketball team.
Yeah, Finney has been really good, hasn't he? Like I've said all along that I think Green is going to have a fantastic year, and I think Indiana's going to be a top 10 team at some point. I don't know if they'll stay. I have no idea. I just know that I think at some point. But Finney has Finney's been really good, right?
Yeah,
like really good.
He just doesn't look like a freshman. He just really doesn't to me, and. I think he's really intelligent. I think he understands the game. I think he was obviously really well coached in high school. There's just no doubt that Rick Peckinpah did a tremendous job with him up at McCutcheon. He just gets it, and I'm not saying that all the players in this team are that way, but there are a lot of them. I mean, Juwan Morgan. Do you think he's smart on the basketball floor? I mean, he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Zach McRoberts. Another guy that just knows his role and plays it to the hilt. And the big question right now with this team is health, physicality, or the physical status of this team, because they've had so many guys dinged up and not been able to participate in practice. I mean, Devontae was out for a couple of weeks. Race Thompson, who just got into the ball game for like 4 minutes the other night, hasn't practiced for it seems like a month now. But he got in there for the first time, and Al Durham's been nursing a foot injury. And Jerome Hunter, we don't know how long he's going to be out. And honestly, Doc, when I watched this team at the very early stages of practice, I thought he might be the second best player out of this freshman class. I think he is really talented, but he's got some kind of a leg issue or foot issue right now that they haven't diagnosed yet. They can't quite figure it out. And he's going to be out for an extended period of time. He may miss the whole season. I don't know. I'm not saying he is going to. I'm just saying that's a possibility. So they're really kind of dealing with some problems in that area right now, and I think they're starting to get guys back. But at this juncture, they're not as deep as we thought they were going to be.
I know. I mean, that's too bad about that. I mean, there are more injuries now that nobody knows what they are. Like lower tissue or what? I mean, it's like it used to be. I broke my wrist. I sprained my ankle. I tore up my knee. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. I have no idea what or what a tissue is.
Yeah.
Is it tissue a muscle, or is it a groin? What is it?
I don't know, but it's like, man, lower tissue issue. All right. Yeah, it's going to keep him out for a lifetime. Oh, okay. Whatever, man.
Hey,
All right.
I graduated high school, Doc. I didn't graduate from college. I mean, now college people can figure this out.
Fish, I graduated from college, and, I mean, I hung around the training room. I never, hey, Dan, you got a lower tissue issue. No, here's a tissue. What, Kleenex? What are you talking about? What the hell? Jeez.
And Tim Garl's not going to tell you anything. So.
No, Garl has survived by shutting the hell up, right?
Exactly.
Oh, man. Fish, you're the best, my friend. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
All right, Doc. See you, bub.